I'm excited to introduce to you a new initiative hosted by the House of God Church called Vivid Vision. Vivid Vision is a series of webinars and learning sessions designed to empower and equip members of our great church. The Bible says in all of our getting, we should get an understanding, and without a vision, the people perish. So, with that, be sure to join us for Vivid Vision.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. We are so excited to be sharing with you again on today with Vivid Vision. Today we have an interesting topic. Sometimes we learn information about certain topics. Sometimes we kind of guess and we kind of wing it. But this is a certain topic that we know that the market is changing. We know that America is changing. We know that our state is changing. Our city is changing. Many things are changing every day as the days go by. Real estate is a topic that always interests a lot of people. And I believe that you cannot know enough when it comes to what real estate is and how to utilize the knowledge that you possess when you get it from real estate. Tonight, I have two individuals on a husband and wife team who are in the dealings, the business makings of real estate. So tonight our topic is real estate, everything you need to know to succeed. I want to introduce to you Mark and Josephine Evans, who are the managing partners of Echo Realty LLC. Welcome, 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 welcome. We are so glad to have you on tonight.
Welcome. We're
Yes,
glad to be
so
here.
I want to dive right into it. So what made you all wanted to get involved in real estate? What was the key thing that got both of you involved in real estate?
Well, what primarily got us involved in real estate, and that's a great question, is when we were a younger couple, we had difficulty finding suitable and safe housing in Massachusetts. Being that there was a lead law in place and not too many people knew about it, we were victims of that. We tried many times to get proper assistance, and we finally did at the end of the day. And so we kind of vowed ourselves that we would never get caught in that trap again, and which led us into the business of real estate, trying to help people avoid the deadly traps that we did, that we experienced while we were younger.
Okay, so how long have you all been in real estate?
I'd say over 20 years.
I've
Okay,
been in it for
all right,
14 or 15 years. I didn't start in the
okay,
beginning.
that's
I
a
got in because Mark needed help in his business. I was running a fashion company, 15-year-old fashion company, very lucrative, and he needed assistance. So I put my business online. I relocated my business online, and I helped him with the real estate. So I've been in it for about 14, 15 years.
okay. That is so you all have some great knowledge for the years that you have spent in real estate, which is awesome. That is awesome. So, what are some of the biggest challenges that you all faced in real estate and that you're actually facing now?
Give me a second.
Okay, yeah, you go.
I'll grab this one. Well, the ever changing complexity of the
Mhm.
MLS, which is supposed to be exclusive to real estate agents and attorneys, and it has opened up the field to a lot of individuals, more so investors, as well as just common customers. And we always do believe that an informed consumer is the best consumer. However, it takes away our tool of our expertise, what we were trained in. So not everybody, as you said early in your opening, it is an ever-changing animal in the business. And people think just because they can read it online and search it online that they know the intricate ins and out of the business, which really takes a professional to assist in that area.
Yeah.
Okay, so that means that when you're dealing with the latest market trends, when you're dealing with the how big the housing market is. How do you take the time within yourself to stay up on all of that information? Because I know that is a lot of information to stay up on. How do you
Well,
stay up on that information?
that's a great question. Our computer allows us, well, our system that we use, our broker system, allows us to tap into certain markets that we predominantly invested in, and it would give us what we call a market update. So we would get the information brought into us, as well as our clientele will let us know what's going on in the associations we have with mortgage reps and closing attorneys, and also what comes on the news and the real estate media that we receive. So it's a lot of information. It's a lot of constant studying. It's a lot of constant updating and learning as we go.
Yeah, and to add to what Mark
Okay.
said, we do a lot of training and seminars, so that keep us abreast to the market and what's out there and what's changing in the market. It's a lot of research, but if you love what you do, you have to invest time in order to stay on the top of
And it
knowing what
doesn't
you're
become
doing.
work.
Right, it's a lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah, if you love what you do, it is not work at all. So, in knowing the information that you just shared with us and understanding, so what are some of the biggest common mistakes that a buyer can make or a seller can make? What are some of the common mistakes that you make as a buyer, and then you can answer as a seller?
Okay, so you want to take the buyer and I take the seller, or which one you want?
You could take the buyer.
Okay. Most buyers that we found that we work with, the mentality of thinking, uh, one, they don't need as much money as they think they need. They come in it thinking, well, I was told by this person that, I don't have to pay closing costs, or I don't have to pay a real estate agent. So they go on with the misconception of thinking that the fees, and half of them don't go to what we call um, new buyers classes, where you're a new buyer buying a home. You should be educated on what's needed. Your down payment. There is a down payment. A lot of people think because they're a veteran, we don't have to come to the table with no money. But that's a bad misconception, because everyone that purchases a home have to come to the table. There's closing costs, there's attorney costs, there's fees that accompany buying a home. So that's one of the biggest things that I find with buyers, when it comes to purchasing a home. Talk
I'd
about
like to add
sellers.
to that, and then we'll go to the seller side, is that buyers do have the misconception that they, as you were saying, don't expect to come to the table with any money, and that the inconsistency of what their needs are opposed to what they want
Mhm.
in a home. When people want you to show them more than 10 homes, then we have to reassess if they understand their needs over their wants,
Mhm.
because you can get a house and it's what you need, and you can customize it to what you want.
Mhm.
And as we go into the seller part, I believe the biggest point with sellers is that, one, they generally, most of, not most, a good common thing they do is not maintain their home when they want to sell it. And also not knowing um, the levels in which they can sell their home, because sometimes you may have a second lien and they forget about it because it's been like 15 years. And
Mhm.
also the adjoining parties who have permission to sell the homes. There's, whether it's a couple, whether it's friends that buy property together, whether it's a single person, and sometimes people put liens on your home that you don't know about, and that's frustrating too, because you have to do research before you even attempt to put a house on the market. We ran into issues like that before, and there was a lot of research that we had to backtrack and do, and we've learned by mistakes that were made. But those are, with the seller, those are the major things. And we have a little saying that we use, good and bad, is that and I hate to say it, but it's true.
That is the truth.
Buyers are liars,
Yeah,
and I'll say that because they don't really know what they
that's true.
want. I want this, I want that, I want this, and then when you show them all that, they say, "Well, let's keep looking." and sellers are yellers, because when the house doesn't sell, they like to yell at you. Why isn't it selling? Do an open house. I don't want to reduce the price. Well, you're not doing your job. I'm going to get another agent. So it's those are the phrases that we use that keeps our sanity when we start to deal with them. And those are the major things that we see on the buyer and the seller side.
Another misconception I like to add to that, if I could,
Sure.
is that sellers feel I don't need a real estate agent. I can sell my home by myself. That's a big misconception in our world today that we see not only in the northeastern
Liability.
market but all over the world. We read and we hear people feel that they can do it themselves. It's a lot of work to try to sell your home on yourself. First of all, you don't know a lot of the majority of the homeowners don't know the legality of trying to list their home or sell it, by themselves, especially when they get clients coming, that want to buy the house and they try to really they put the house on the market, they want 400, and you got a buyer come in and they try to, beat you out of $50,000. And it happens all the time because they don't know the ins and out of what they're
Mhm.
doing when it comes to selling a home. So it's good to use, an agent if you want to make sure that your house gets sold, you know.
And another thing to
Okay.
add is there are a lot of liabilities, as Josephine
That's
just
true
said,
too.
and we have to do them for the federal and state regulations. And a homeowner, when they want to sell their home, becomes a business owner, not just a homeowner, because now you have to follow state and federal regulations. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times they violate that, and they can get sued minimum $5 to $150,000 if they don't stay in compliance.
Okay. That was a lot of information. That
There's
was
a
a
lot
lot
more.
of
A
good
lot more.
It's a
information.
lot more to it. I wish we had a day that we can really sit and do this
Yeah.
because there's so much information that, especially new buyers, that people that are interested in buying homes, you know, um, need to know before getting into it. It's a good thing to own a piece of the rock, but to be honest,
Yeah.
you got to be educated, know what you're getting into.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. I like the phrase that you said, buyers are liars. They never really know what they want. They're all over the place when they see. And I think when you said that, I think what happens is a lot of times people that are interested in buying a home, they stay online looking at homes. And I think they keep looking at homes. And in the process of looking at homes, they keep seeing homes that they really like. But then, which lead me to my next question,
Ability,
is the budget. It's the budget because what you
ability.
really desire and what you really want, man, you're looking at $1 million, at the end of the
Amen.
day. So, how do you handle clients when the reality set in, when you go through the checklist uh, of what they want instead of what they need? When you put the reality on them, how do you deal with those clients that have limited budgets?
Huh.
Well, you want to start?
No, you go ahead.
What we do is we have like an interview process. We see with them of what they want opposed to what they need. So we gauge what we're working with, and we see the mentality of the person that we're dealing with. And sometimes we call it like the red dot syndrome, where if we have to keep coming to that um, conversation multiple times, we generally try to let them off the hook and let them go and tell them maybe we're not the best agency for you and choose someone else. Because what we try to do is we try to have a rapport with people who, in fact, believe that they're trusting us to do the right thing. And trust is hard to earn. So we put the work and effort in to gain a rapport and trust in them. But then still, as we said with our little slogans, they tend to choose who they feel can do a better job, even if it's they may work with you for 5 months and then say, well, you know what? This other person told me they can do this, and then they bail and jump ship. So that's where we are with that.
Okay. Okay. So when we take a look at it, so in other words, when we look at the complexities of how you navigate the complexities of home buying, so you just laid that out. Step one, it looks like there's an interest in you becoming the real estate agent. Step two would be what you would say the interview process. to understand exactly what it is that they need. I guess you talk about the budget. I guess you talk about lending, which is a whole nother different side, which is when you come to it with lending, getting approved for what that looks like. So what are some other can share on navigating this first intro process to buying a home?
So then we send them to a mortgage broker who would sit down with them and work out the financial aspects of, them buying a particular home. They give them what we call a pre-approval, and the pre-approval tell them how much of a house they can afford. So without we don't go out, we don't go shopping for nothing unless we got the money. So once we know that we got the money, then we'll go shopping. So you're not gonna take me over here to this $1 million home you want to see when you ain't got enough money to get this home. So what we do is we get this pre-approval from the mortgage broker, and we take this, and this is how we go shopping. So we try to stay in the ramifications of what they've been pre-approved for, and we find them a house in that. I mean, there are times when they can afford a little bit more, but we don't take them, too far out of their price range. And to be honest, it's their choice. If they got the extra money in a 401k, they want to pull that extra money out. That's between them and the mortgage. We try not to get in the financial aspects of it. So, but early on, once we have that interview, we do get with them and make sure that they're pre-approved to purchase a home. Because everyone that comes to the table is not able to purchase. The credit score may not be where it needs to be, before we take them out. So we make sure that some people come in that we have to get 3 to 6 months, in a program to where their score comes up and they can afford to buy. And then others come in, they're ready to buy, and we take them shopping. So once that's
All
done,
right.
we on our way.
All right. Take them shopping. So that means, in other words, show me the money.
Show me the
That's an
money.
old slogan. Show me the money,
Show me
and
the
I'll
money.
take you shopping.
Another thing that we
And
do is we negotiate the facilitation of the transaction. That's the phrase that we use.
okay.
We make the deal happen
Yeah.
by researching the property, the sales on the property, the client's actual purse or pocketbook or wallet, whatever you want to call it, to see what they can do and see how we can make the fit happen by offering concessions or restructuring the money to make it look like it's more than what it is. We can make paper look real good and hopefully present it to the homeowner through their listing agent to give us consideration. There are times where we turn around and say, listen, we don't even want you to show it to nobody else. This is going to be the best deal you got. And we usually prevail with that. If you're confident in what you can do, and they was like, wow, is this it? I said, you can look at everybody else, but this is the best deal we're going to offer today. And usually we get the deal done.
Okay. All
I'm a
right.
strong, I'm a strong
Go ahead.
believer. If you come in my office to buy, I'm going to get you to buy. You might not be ready today, but we're going to get you ready so that you can buy. You come in for a reason. It's just like when I had the fashion company. You come in the doors. If you come in my doors, I'm going to sell you. And that's how it is when people come in the office. You come to me, you want to buy a house. We're going to make it work. It might not work this month, but we're going to get you in position so that you can buy.
Okay. I like that. So listening to you, it kind of put me in the mindset of, okay, I've looked at the website, I've heard what you say. I am a first-time home buyer. It seems like first-time home buyers are different from any ordinary person that buys a home. How do you deal with first-time home buyers? Because we know that there are so many different programs. You get emails, spam emails, stuff pop in. What should a first-time home buyer do when you speak to the real estate agent, or if they show interest in using your services? How do you advise them? Because like I said, there's so much information that is out there for first-time home buyers. How do you deal with that situation?
So the first thing we normally do is educate them. We have pamphlets in our office, and I always ask the client, have you went to, we in Massachusetts, we have the first time home buyers program. And when you go to that, they do assist you with closing costs. And so revert them back to, signing up for the first time home buyers class if they have not. If they have, I kind of listen to them and try to find out what type of questions they may have, and we educate them around the questions that they have so that they'll be more informed as a buyer, as to what they're getting into. Mark, you want to add on to that?
Sure. And then what we do is we really, as Josephine said, we really listen to them and we say, tell me your story.
Mm-hmm.
We don't just say, what do you want? What do you need? We want to hear, why is it that you want a home? So then that builds character in our rapport, so we can cross off all the check marks that what they're actually looking for. And sometimes what they want is not what they need.
Mm-hmm.
And we can show them, this is what you said that you needed. And then we reiterate, for your family, because your kids need to go to school in this area, because your mother's going to move, and this would be ideal. So that's what we do with those first time home buyer, is to get them comfortable with the process. And sometimes we tell them, listen, if it can be done, we can get it done.
Mm-hmm.
But what we want you to do is realize when the hurdles comes, that's what we're here for you to take a breather and just relax. And we'll let you know what's going on after we find out what's going on behind the scenes. Because behind the scenes is a dirty job.
Yeah.
So we tell them, hey, this happens. Say, listen, just go to your dinner. We'll handle it, and we'll let you know. And we obviously got to let them know in a nice, palatable way, this smooth side, to say, hey, this is what we worked out. Oh, what happened? Well, you don't need to know, because that's why you hired us, with confidence that we can get the job done for you. Is that correct? And they're like, yeah, all right, then let's move on. So we educate them, we listen to them, and we show them the possibilities. And that's all that really happens. It's really a 1, 2, 3 step. However, there's a lot of alphabets behind the scenes.
Okay. So that leads me to understanding how you go far and beyond, how a real estate agent actually should go far and beyond to help the client potentially get their ideal home for themselves and their family. How do you handle difficult clients? Because I know that there's sometimes difficult clients come about. How do you handle them? And I want to throw this out also as a second part of this question is, how do you handle the difficulty between the buyer and the seller? Because as you say, like behind the scenes, there's some activity going on. So how do you handle the difficult clients, and how do you handle the difficult sellers? Because I know at some point in time, it comes to head with dealing with either one of those, or you can deal with both of them at the same time. So how do you deal with that?
I think it's important that we never let the client know, what's going on. That's why they have an agent. So we work it out with their agents. We'll work it out. I wouldn't really say that we had clients that had, problems with one another when it comes to the buyer and the seller. But it's you got to remain professional. You got to keep your professionalism intact and make sure that you allow them space to vent if there's something they want to vent, but then bring it back in to where they understand. Listen, the ultimate gain for you is to get this house. So let's focus on you getting this house. And that in the past have worked for us, when you basically let them know, look, this is what your drive is, to get this home. So let's focus on that, not whether the homeowner is not doing this, or the homeowner, look at you, funny or whatever. We don't try to deal with that stuff. We try to make it the process smooth. If you're here to buy a house, that's what we're here to help you to buy a house. And we don't get into the, other logistics of, what goes on. I really wouldn't say I really had a big problem with that in the 15 years that I've been in real estate. But I think the difficulty come in when they don't know what's going on. And we try to let them know we're here to represent you. So since we're representing you, let us do our job in representing you.
And to go to the buyers and sellers conflict, it's usually a contractual dispute. And even though contracts are written, they are made to be broken. Obviously, that's why we have attorneys. We generally just point out the pros and cons for either the buyer or the seller to stay in the deal, or to rescind their offer, or to pull back their property from the market, to restructure it. But usually, at a certain point, as we are real estate professionals, we're not mortgage brokers, or home inspectors, or lead inspectors, or attorneys. So generally, we turn it over to the professional field that's qualified to answer that. They're generally what the client ends up paying for, those side items, like a closing attorney. Say if we had a dispute, we would bring it to the attorney and let them go to attorney and deal with all the legalities before it comes back to the table. And then we educate them again. What decision do you want to make that's best for you and your family?
Okay. All right. That was that was a very good answer, which leads me to what are some important things that you can share? Because we know that a lot of people are going to end up watching this webinar and they're going to listen to you speak. So what is a couple of important things that you can share about um, what to look for when you're trying to select a real estate agent? What are some of the things that you should look for? Because I know that it's a huge market.
Mm.
Every time you drive down the street, every bench look like every bench has a real estate agent posted to it. There's when you go to the grocery store, you see all these ads, you just see all these billboards. So, what is it that you should look for when selecting a real estate agent?
Okay, you can take that.
I'll take that one. As you said, uh, it looks like agents can come a dime a dozen. You can look at their portfolio and see how many houses they sold. You can look at and see their reputation or the clientele that they work with. But I say honestly, is that when you have to do your due diligence, and you have to come across an agent that seems like they're honest. I know that sounds like a little cliche, but has integrity, that can be honest with you and tell you the truth from day one. Now there are times I would talk to a client and say, listen, I don't answer my phone all the time, but when you call me, I don't like to get back to you unless I have an answer. So if it takes me a little time, I'll get you an answer. But if you keep calling and calling, I'll answer you and say, I don't have an answer. When I get one, I'll get to you. And you have to build that kind of respect as well as rapport with your clients, to for them to want to choose you. Because you can look at all the stats, all the numbers. And again, that's marketing and that's advertising. And we always say, do you think or feel that I'm the best person to assist you in this endeavor? And if they say no, then say, well, glad I'll step in the back of the line. You can review whoever you want to. And when you come to a decision, I'm pretty sure you'll come back to me with confidence. And most time they do.
All right. So that means that when you're in this position as a real estate agent, let me ask you, how do you stay motivated and focused in such a competitive industry? How do you all stay motivated and focused?
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I'll say because God can make a way. We've been in for over 20 something years through, I think, at least two bubbles, as they call it, when the
Yeah.
market rise and the market crashed. And we know how to get the work done, whether it's door knocking, cold calling, sending out flyers, talking to people wherever we go about the Lord first, and then about where do you live? What are you doing? So we try to engage. What we love is the Lord, and what we do is our profession. So we try to intertwine those together, and we generally just, the Lord makes a way.
Yes, I truly believe that God will make a way. You keep Him first, you build your business around God, you put your work and you build that around God. I truly believe that God will provide and He will make a way for you to succeed in whatever you wish, whatever you're doing. He will make a way for you to succeed. That is so interesting that you said that, because a lot of times when we look at how you grow in certain industries, no matter what it is, a lot of people struggle. A lot of people don't understand that there's a difference when you place God first. There's a huge difference when you do that. So that stood out to me, and I know when others watch this, that is going to stand out to them. That I encourage you all, put God first in whatever you do. Trust me, it will benefit you. It will definitely pay off. So when we look at the real estate industry, it is massive. It's massive. It runs on so many different cylinders. And let me ask you, what are some of the biggest trends in the real estate industry right now that you can discuss? What are some of the biggest trends?
Um, One of the biggest trends is a lot of buyers are doing what we call the digital internet viewing, where they can see the houses that are on the market. They can look, you can actually go online and look inside of the house before you actually go to the house, making a decision whether you want to go or not. That's one of the biggest trends that I see, at least in our market here. Um, we see a lot of that. Um, Go ahead.
And to add to that, uh, they call it ADUs, auxiliary dwelling units, meaning that little thing you used to make for your kids, a little clubhouse. Now you could build a house behind your house and use it for primary or secondary purposes, either to rent it out or to use it for people that want to come over and stay for a little while. Or they basically
Okay.
call it tiny homes.
Okay. So I guess that leads me into you segue right into it. So what do you think about, have you ever dealt with any clients that does verbal and, renting their house out for vacations or stuff like that? Have you ever dealt with that? And my second half of that question is, how do you ever encourage individuals to do that? Because I know we're going to get into the discussion of real estate investing and whatever that trend is. But I just wanted to ask you that question, sneak that in real quick. Have you ever dealt with anybody that deals with verbal or renting their house out for various vacations?
I'll answer. I'll answer that one.
Mhm.
Personally, I would say no,
No, no.
but we do have association with people that do entertain that part of it, and it generally is not that favorable.
Uh-uh.
What I see online is not what I see in reality. A lot of liability, a lot of chaos, and a lot of lost revenue that the people that I have come across personally that has encountered in that. We actually have used services from that, and we're model clients, so we kept it pristine and didn't have a problem. But not everybody does that or treat everybody else's property the same.
But we do have clients that have a home and they want to sell their home to buy another home, and we rent that home out. And that has been pretty big in this market, where and then I would call them an investors, so they invest in other properties, and the one that they actually had, they'll sell it off and rent it, and that has worked really good for a lot of them in that aspect.
Okay.
That goes
Okay.
into
So go ahead.
the investing part of the
Okay.
market.
All right. So my so let's kind of move to that area real quick. Let's kind of move to that area. How did, investing is such a mystery for a lot of people because you see, like I said again, you're always online. You see stuff that pop in. You see commercials about investing. How do you deal if someone come to you and say, "Look, I have this amount of money. I want to invest in real estate." How do you guide them, or what are the first stages to what we would call investing in real estate?
Mhm.
Again, An educational class needs to happen
Yep.
because with real estate in that area of investing, it's a profit and loss thing
Mm-hmm.
and is a risk assessment. So it doesn't matter really how much money you have. You want to invest it wisely so that you can get the proper return on your investment and what they call a ROI, or proper return on your well, I just said that. I'm sorry. To get them to see that they should be able to have a managing staff along with the idea of what they want to purchase and who's going to manage it and what kind of finances will be assessed with that type of a project. You can go to different groups that allow you to invest your money and you would do it as dividends and get a payout. You can invest privately on your own and, buyer beware. Sometimes you have to be the manager of everything and hire out for things that you don't know. Or you can get with partners and do investments like that too. But if you ever see these shows that come on TV about flips and buying and selling, it's totally not like that. It's an illusion. Some of it's real because they're actually doing it, but behind the scenes is where the real work
Mm-hmm.
is. You always gotta put at least about 15 to 20% extra capital in for mistakes that will happen.
Profit and loss,
Okay.
Yes. So, when you a lot, I know a lot of people watch the what is it, the HG channel, I believe it is, and you see
yeah.
the people flipping the houses, and when you look at it, but what I do a lot of times, people just look at them flipping the homes, but you never watch the show all the way through to see
Yeah.
what
That's
they
right.
put into the home. Once you see the amount that they put into a home when they flipped it, it's like, oh, that house, they bought that house for $50,000. But then they probably had to put another 150 into it to get it out. And they
Mhm.
sometimes never make dividends off of that home.
That's
So
correct.
I get what you're saying. I definitely get what you're saying. Be careful. You know, um, Education is key.
Yes.
Education is key so you can make the right decisions when it comes to investing. All right. So, how do you help clients prepare their? I come to you, I have this home, I want to sell it. What are some of the first guidelines that you give that particular client in selling a home? Do you uh, get an assessment of a home? Do you do a walkthrough? Should a real estate agent maybe email some information or a checklist, making sure that the home is good? What are those stages that a real estate agent should go through in uh, preparing a home to be sold?
So when a client comes, we do a itemized checklist of the home, what they have in the home. We go by, we take pictures, and after we take the pictures and all, most clients have their idea as to what they want to list their property for. For instance, they'll go, well, I think I can get about 450 for this. So what we do is a cost analysis to see what's selling in the area, how much the property sold for compared to the square footage of the home. And then we say, well, you want 450, but the market says that your home in this condition with this much square footage is worth this. Sometimes, they're not happy with that, but at least we have, you know, a printout of what their house could sell for in that particular area with that particular square footage with that particular condition that their home is in. So that's usually how we first start off. Um,
Sure.
Mark, you want to add to
Yeah,
that?
to add to that, then we do the reality check.
Yes.
Are you willing to sell your home?
Uh-huh.
Will you give us access to your home when necessary? Are you willing to negotiate with potential buyers that come close or meet your expectations on your asking price? And most of the time, and are you willing to also update your property as necessary or do repairs or make concessions to the buyer if your property is not in great condition? So we give a reality check as well to see what we're working with because There might be times when the house is a good house and it can sell itself. There might be times where you do an inspection and there are a lot of issues that come up and the buyer said, but it's a nice house. At one time, it was a nice house. But if you don't maintain it, things, it ain't a nice house no more. And then we get to a point where a buyer will start negotiating if they have an agent, as we would do, and start taking off the price of the home and whittle it down to say, now what are you going to do? I'm willing to buy it, but I want something from it. I'm not going to pay for a fair house when you told me you're selling me a good house.
That's fair.
That is
That is fair.
yeah.
That is fair. Hey, don't come to me saying, hey, the house looks like this, it looks like that, but then when you get there to take the pictures or to see it, it's a wreck. So that's something that leads me into the topic of foreclosures.
Mm.
Now, how do you deal with that? Because I know you may see some foreclosures online, like if someone is looking for a home, and you may see some foreclosures online, but you really don't see a lot of them. That is access that you must have, that I do know through research, that is access that you must have. But how do you deal with someone that says, look, I don't mind fixing up a home, how do I deal with getting a foreclosure? How do you deal? What advice do you give buyers when they come to you with a situation like that?
Okay, there's a lot involved with purchasing homes that are foreclosed, HUD homes, we call them. There's a lot involved. A lot of times you don't know the ins and outs of what's going on with the property, whether there's, overdue taxes, there's leaks in the property. You don't know. And half of the time you can't even get inside the property to see if it's not vacant. You can't get in to see what's going on with the property. So you're buying something sight unseen. If you're not an investor, a contractor, and this is something that you do, you can end up paying, more than just going to look for a piece of property that's on the market that's up to standards, ready to what we call turnkey, go in and set up. So foreclosed properties are not always the best properties unless you have experience and you're willing to, take time. And it takes time too. The house, buying a foreclosed property can take you 6 months to a year in some markets. So it's good to know, again, education, what you're getting into before you get into it. It sounds good because it seems like you can get the house for a little nothing because it's being foreclosed. But we also specialize in helping people so they don't get to that point, because we do have people, and the people that's in the process of going into foreclosure, we have programs where we can, get them into so that they don't lose their property. That's another time to talk about. But go ahead, Mark. You want to tap in on that?
Yeah, so foreclosure properties are something we don't try to not steer them away from,
Yeah.
but we have them to be more cautious about it because the title to a property could be held up in a lot of different areas. And you're buying the rights to the house without entitlement, which has been a problem. True case, we bought a investment property. Everything was fine until we went to sell it.
Mm-hmm.
And we found out it had a 15-year title issue that was never caught. It took another year and a half to resolve it, and a loss of over like $38,000 as a true example. So just because it seemed like it's a good deal, it's not always the best deal. So like I said, risk assessment, if you're an investor and you know that you can lose at least about $30,000 to $50,000 on a deal that might not work out. And then there were times where you could buy the home and the house is set for demolishment.
Mm-hmm.
City already had paperwork in, and all the offices do not contact each other to tell them what they're doing. You get the tax office that take the home and then sell it, and then the building department has it deemed for demolition. And then once you buy it, you come there one day and the house is missing. So foreclosures can be a lucrative investment, but they're also the most riskiest.
Very tricky.
Is that a word?
Yeah, risky, tricky.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Risky.
Risky
Yeah,
business.
well, I appreciate you for that bit of education because I know that's one of the first things when you look at buying a home. That's one of the first things people will ask. What about a foreclosed home? And I'm glad you shared that information for others to maybe now do a little bit of research, on that particular topic. So we know that every time you look up, there was empty spaces in certain areas, fields, cornfields, fields full of trees. Then all of a sudden, a month or two later, you see the trees knocked down, the cornfields knocked down. Now you have a new development,
Mm-hmm.
have a new home that is in development.
Yeah.
What should a home buyer consider when you look at the new developments that are being put up? Because you see them, I know up here in Indiana, they getting rid of all of our cornfields. They're getting rid of all of them. You see new developments popping up like left and right. So my question to you is, what type of advice do you give when considering, like, if buyers say, hey, maybe a new development, I can get into that. That's not a problem. I can deal with that. What type of advice do you give that individual when it's dealing with the new development?
Good job. Keep going. So you
Well,
need to.
that's a tricky one because you can get into a new development, brand new, but it's untested, meaning you don't know the work of the contractors that or the subcontractors that went in there and did the work. You can also be left with liabilities of fees or utilities that were put in, such as the plumbing for the main system of the sewer system, the electrical, where you may be liable living in a or sometimes you call it gated community or new development that may fall back on the client with homeowner association fees. Um, it's worthwhile because it's brand new, it's yours, but depends on if it's like single dwelling, multi units, condo type style homes. Um, it really takes a strong commitment to want to be that close to a lot of other people, condo living as well as development living, where sometimes it's like I said, a gated community where they have control of what you can and cannot do, even on your own property.
That that's uh that's a fair answer. That's a fair answer. That makes me kind of look at it a little bit different. Now I'm gonna throw a tough answer out to you. I'm gonna throw a tough one out to you. And I think that this is a legit answer because this happens rapidly in the world that we live in. How do you deal with clients that are going through a divorce?
Well, you don't get involved in the divorce.
That's right.
We're not attorneys, so we don't navigate between the two. Confidentiality is one of the biggest things. What he says to me, I keep it confidential. I don't tell her. You know, um, I think that the best thing to do in that sense, we never been there, but I
Yeah, we
truly
have.
believe.
Yeah,
uh,
West Elm Street.
Yeah, well, you did. Yeah, well, you
Yeah,
worked mainly on that one. But I truly believe, you keep the line of confidentiality and professionalism. What he says to you, he says you don't go back and forth. You don't get into that. Our job is to facilitate selling the home.
exactly.
And it's the home only. I'm trying to sell your home. Yeah, we did have one. Matter of fact, yeah, recently. Yeah, my job is to sell your home and your home only. I'm not a counselor to you. That's not my job. My due diligence to you is to make sure your home is sold. You can chime in.
Because
I like that answer.
what you can do is cross your professionalism, and now instead of giving professional advice, you're giving a personal advice. And then if they take you up on that, you're liable.
Mm-hmm.
So the case in point that we talked, one would say something about the other one would say something about the other one. This one's supposed to do it, and I would chuckle and laugh and just say, okay, so what are we going to do about the home? And right back to the question, what are we going to do about the bills?
Mhm.
We'll let your attorneys handle that. What are we going to do about the closing date? you can vent all you want to, as Josephine said earlier, but at the end of the day, we're here to facilitate the transaction of the sale of your home.
That's real. I love that answer. Stay out of the business because that ain't y'all business. Stay out of it.
I'm not getting paid
Stay
for
out
that.
of
I ain't getting paid for that. And we
That's
can add
right.
some.
That's right.
We
You're
can
not
add some on. We can add some on, and then we can do that on the side. But no. Mm-mm.
yeah, you're not getting paid to counsel.
Yeah.
You are getting paid to sell that home or to
Sell
help
them.
them buy a home, however it goes. All
Amen.
right,
That's it.
so I have one I have one last question that I want to ask you guys. And one of the things is that I know when we looked at it, you kind of alluded to it when we first started. What are some of the misconceptions when you look at real estate? Because a lot of times you can get caught up in bad dealings, you can get caught up with bad agents, you can get caught up with bad lenders. What are some of the misconceptions that you're seeing right now when it deals with real estate?
Misconceptions.
Well, a lot of people are getting into it because they feel there's a lot of money to be made. It's so easy to sell a house. It's so easy. All you got to do is put it on the market and then sell. But it's not so easy. There's a lot of work, as Mark mentioned earlier, behind the scene that you have to keep up to keep the deal on the table that it will close. There's a lot behind the scene. We had a couple people that we know, friends of ours, that they got in it in real estate. They're not in it no more. Wow, I didn't know it was that much work. That's one of the big misconceptions, that you can get in, you can make a lot of money, get rich quick type of thing, and and they find out once they get in, it's not all what you thought it is. You have to, as I stated earlier, you have to love what you do. You have to love this market. You have to love people. You got to be willing to stay up late. You got to be willing to go to wake up early. It's not an easy job. Our day don't end when we leave the office and come home. We take paperwork with us and we're sitting there doing it. So there is a big misconception in people thinking that it's easy to get into real estate and make a lot of money. Oh, you can make some money. I'm not going to say you can't make money, but there's a lot of work in making money, a lot of education.
I like to add, one of the misconceptions is, as Josephine was getting to, is that the client would just automatically assume that everybody is there for their best interest. And that's not always the case. At the end of the day, an agent has to make a paycheck. So sometimes, as I said earlier, is that you have to build a rapport and a trust factor and believe that you can get the job done, but also protect the client's interest beyond your own. So there are times when we lose money because their interest of what they want to get paid, what they want to pay is more relevant than what we want to get paid at the end of the day. So some people think, oh no, my agent is doing this. And it's like, really? Did you just see what they did though? But we can't give that advice. We're talking to each other because we can't get into another agent's confidentiality with their client. But we see the structured deal is like, wow, they did that for them to make another 1 to 2%. And now the client spent more money, the agent made more money. So not everybody always works for your interest, but you have to test them to see if they're working for you. Make sure they're honest and see the paperwork, follow the paperwork, and follow the money trail. And they should be able to show you to it at all instances of the process.
I love that. I love that answer. And again, I want to thank you both for sharing with us on this evening. And I know we talked about this 2 years ago. We thank God that we were able to make this happen tonight.
Amen.
Because you all both are a wealth of knowledge. And I truly believe that once people see this, they're going to want to ask questions. So can you share your website with us really fast? Share your website with us really fast so people can if they have questions, they can get in contact with you.
Amen. It's www.echo Realty Sells SELLS.com. Again,
Echo Realty Sales.
yes,
.com.
ECO Realty Sells, SELLS.com.
All right. Mark and Josephine Evans, we appreciate you for coming on tonight and sharing with us. We just thank you for your time. And trust me, you all will be back. We have plenty. There's a lot that we can get back into when it comes to real estate. So we definitely will
Yes.
be bringing you back on in the near future. Thank you for your time on this evening.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much
very
for
much.
having us. God
God
bless
bless
you.
you.
Thank you.
God bless you too. Thank you. All right. So there you have it. Real estate and what you need to know to succeed. Listen, this was a very informative webinar on this evening. And again, like I said, we are looking forward to having more inviting conversations dealing with many different topics. The month of October is fastly approaching. On October 5th at 6:30 p.m., we're going to be in a conversation about domestic violence. That October is dedicated towards domestic violence month. So please share with your friends, let them know to be on October 5th. It's going to be a very, very great show. Again, thank you for your time. We look forward to seeing you again very soon. Have a wonderful night.